Often atheists like Richard Dawkins would present religion as the enemy of science. They would argue that there is a conflict between the scientific versus the religious, in this case, the Christian worldview. However, Oxford professor Dr. John Lennox does not think that is the case. He provides a brilliant analogy to illustrate his point.
Why is the water boiling? Well, because heat energy from the gas burner is being conducted through the base of the kettle, agitating the molecules, and it's boiling. Okay? It's actually boiling because I'm desperate for a cup of tea. Now you're laughing. What does your laughter tell me? You see, it's a false apposition because both explanations are correct. Now, think about that. This is very simple. I find kids can understand it, but many professors cannot. You see, the scientific explanation is telling you how it works. But I have also given a personal explanation in terms of human volition. I want a cup of tea. Think about it. Which is the more important of those two? Well, people have been enjoying tea for thousands of years before they knew about equations of heat. Isn't that so? Those explanations don't conflict. They don't compete. They complement. And I sometimes put it to people and say, look, God no more competes with real science as an explanation of the universe than Henry Ford competes with the basic laws of physics and the law of internal combustion as an explanation for the motor car.
Since the early church, many thinkers and theologians described two books that God has given to humanity: the book of nature, that is the creation, and the book of scripture, that is the Bible. The book of nature corresponds to science, philosophy, and reason. The book of scripture corresponds to theology and divine revelation as we find it in the Bible. Together, creation and scripture form a harmonious testimony. In short, the book of nature, that is science, shows God's glory in creation. The book of scripture, that is the Bible, shows God's will for salvation. Both are revelations from the same divine source. There is no contradiction, as Professor John Lennox points out.